So, I have a few slides now that run through the key features of the asset support contract. Firstly, not surprisingly, routine maintenance will be outcome-based where it's practical to do so. That means less prescription. There are some areas where we will still retain that prescription. David Corby will be pleased to hear that we are not taking risks with winter maintenance. We do recognise the importance of good quality winter maintenance, and that still remains largely prescriptive. But the emphasis is on an affordable level of service within the contract. There's a higher threshold for scheme delivery by the service provider. That means that works for renewals and improvements will be carried out within the asset support contract up to a value of £5 million. That is considerably in excess of that in current MAC contracts, which is a £500,000 threshold, and will give them the opportunity of maximising the throughput through the contract and greater efficiencies as a result. And similarly, the threshold for recovering damage to the highways agency network hasn't changed since the MAC was introduced in 2000. We're over 10 years with no change. It's going up now to £10,000. That reflects the conversation that we've had with our suppliers. And it also includes technology improvements. The improvements and renewals, but not the routine maintenance. That will be via a different contract, but overall performance managed by the asset support contractor. Obviously, target costs and delivery to price, very important for the client and the supplier. We've previously relied on derived prices, a number of sample schemes that all too often didn't seem to be quite the right sample and resulted in a lengthy negotiation to find acceptable pricing for the scheme we did want to deliver. We're now moving, some would say, back to a schedule of rates. It's the sort of thing that industry use themselves. It's the sort of thing that is seen as easier to use and likely to have the need for less debate in building up accurate target costs. But there is a sting in the tail. Within the tender, there will be a year-on-year reduction in the rates that we require for lump sum and scheduled rates. Again, that will drive efficiency, continuous improvement. Design and supervision. We're moving from the blank check approach that says, design the scheme, it's cost reimbursable. What we will have is something that requires a discipline to specify from the client, but will be a tendered percentage depending on the size of the scheme. The asset support contract certainly seeks to drive changes through innovation and efficiencies and continuous improvement. There'll be new clauses there, clause 53 in particular, that will be focusing on innovation. We are very, very keen to do more on encouraging innovation from our suppliers. There'll be a quite radical move to buying high-value items with category management. Won't be ready initially, but we are already starting to go through the processes to have a category management process for high-value items like asphalt, concrete, gantries, and technology, so that they will be purchased centrally through a framework where the agency can use its economy of scale to get the best value from suppliers. And finally, the key changes, risk management, placing the risk where the people are best placed to manage it. So the lump sum involves a risk, and we retain the lump sum for routine maintenance activities. But there will be incentives to ensure that the supplier does think carefully about target costs to ensure they work within target costs. Incentives to gain where prices come below target costs, but also the risk of penalty where costs go higher and the risk will be borne by the supplier, not the client. There will also be an opportunity for extensions. Extensions to the contract where there's a good track record of performance. The standard contract is 5 years, plus an opportunity of three one-year extensions as part of the original package. Finally, asset management. It came up this morning and was seen very much as a crucial part of managing a key asset, whatever industry you're in. And it's clear that all managers, operators of assets, whether it's Network Rail, the water industry, or the highways agency, see the importance of asset management. And I sincerely hope that good asset data will be part of what we get from the asset support contract, and that the systems should not be allowed to be a casualty of the spending review that we've had. So, a few key messages. The asset support contract is a new contract, but it does preserve the current best practice that we have from the existing MAC, as highlighted by the Public Accounts Committee. It responds to the maintenance community inputs on what they feel would help us deliver the outcomes we're seeking. It makes a use of the agency's procurement and contracting frameworks to secure best value for the taxpayer. Absolutely vital if we're to achieve the figures that we have in our budgets. And I believe through the long-term engagement, it provides a basis for a healthy and sustainable and competitive supply chain. But the Area 2 contract went out on Monday. It goes live July 2012. It will not be quick enough to give us the sort of savings we see on our spend review slide here. So what we need to do is to negotiate changes on existing MAC contracts, and we're already very much in the process of dialogue with our existing supply chain to negotiate those changes, those parts of the asset support contract or those parts of the technical guidance that we feel we can actually retrofit into existing contracts to take cost out of existing contracts. So, grasping the opportunity, it's very much an emphasis on asset repair, life extension, or renewal at the lowest cost. And why not? Why shouldn't we ask that we and our suppliers consider the least cost of delivering an outcome that we're looking for? We owe it to the country at the moment. But safety, service to users, and asset management, good asset management, are still key. We are not looking at short-termism and make do and mend. I think what I have been explaining should demonstrate that we have listened to our suppliers, and that we are willing to be different with the asset support contract. But I think it's important to recognise that there are changes not just for our suppliers, there are changes for the highways agency as well. The disciplines that we will need, whether that be to get a commercial grip of the contract, to know what we're spending, where we're spending it, and whether it's giving us value for money in benchmarking, or the disciplines of specifying what it is we want before our supplier embarks on a design process. I think we have made a lot of changes for the asset support contract. I do believe that there is scope for further and wider cooperation, and that will drive yet more efficiencies. The next challenge is actually exploiting the opportunity offered by the asset support contract. The Area 2 bidders are already looking through the documents. Some might say we lit the slow fuse on Monday. I would hope that the correct term would be laying the foundations for the new form of maintenance contract. The one thing that's a certainty is that sharp pencils are required, and I believe that both the agency and our supply chain are up for the challenge of delivering the change that's required. Thank you.